Welcome to the E-Show with Neil Ravin. Founded in 2013, the EHL has become the college placement leader on the East Coast. Sit back and learn more about the next step in your junior hockey career.
Welcome to the E-Show, presented by the Penalty Box Foundation. The Foundation's mission centers around their daily motto, we take care of our own, as they help out all of those within the hockey community who've experienced a catastrophic event. Learn more at penaltyboxfoundation.org. What's up? My name is Neil Ravin, and this is episode number 142 of the E-Show. On this week's episode, we recap the 2022 EHL All-Star College Series, which was the 5th edition of the annual event and an incredible weekend in New York. The weekly rundown begins with a look back and then transitions into a review of the latest set of power rankings, which includes a discussion over whether or not the 5th slot in the EHL is cursed. Moving along to the E-Crew Fantasy Challenge, and the question is asked, can Team OG maintain this pace? Finally, we wrap things up with our What to Watch For segment and a look at the games that we have circled this upcoming week. This week's episode is brought to you by Hockey Tech, the developers for the new EHL app, available now in both Apple and Google stores. With that, let's bring in this week's E-Crew, Jake, Anthony, and Jeff, coming off another fantastic All-Star weekend. I did not think I would be on this podcast wearing this Brockport jersey, but huge thanks.
That is a sick sweater.
Huge thanks to head coach Brian Dickinson for this vintage sweater. It's just, Jeff, me, Jeff. I love just basic. I just love just the big letters right across the middle of it.
Also, if you guys haven't seen it yet, we're going to continue the shout out to Brockport. Go watch their video that they just released for the beginning of their hockey season.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, pretty
sweet. Videography, I have a little influence, maybe. Our one and only Trevor Blackburn. That thing was awesome. All sorts of footage. Yep. Some drone stuff. Yeah, Brockport. Great school. A lot of former EHLers up there, and that's an awesome jersey, Neil. I like that a lot.
Yeah, we'll get to that for sure. I got the puck, too, from Nazareth.
Have to.
Wow. But before we get into the weekly rundown, Anthony, we were watching your entire game from the car. I'm sure you probably assumed that, right?
Well, we were listening. We were being safe.
Yes.
We were being safe.
Your mic check a half hour before with Chris was probably the funniest bit of the entire season.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
So
give me a Spark Notes version.
Yeah, we logged in. We were listening. Anthony made it very clear to Chris that he was live. The stream was open. And Chris was just talking about how they were at Hershey Park Stadium, the arena where Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points. You could kind of almost say allegedly because there's no video proof.
Chris made sure to emphasize that every time.
Yeah,
well done, Chris.
So they were going over that, and it's all in the pregame of the game. So we had a great laugh in the car, Anthony. So this is kind of a thank you for that.
Oh man, my mic checks with him are always funny. Of course, they're a little funnier when the broadcast hasn't actually started yet, when the box on the computer is blue instead of green.
Yes, of course.
But I can't emphasize how much I love working with him.
Yeah,
and I can't wait to work more showcases and this year's Frozen Finals with them.
Of course. With that, though, let's jump into the weekly rundown.
It's time for the E-Crew's Weekly Rundown.
The E-Show Weekly Rundown is brought to you by the Junior Hockey Podcast, your home for junior hockey news, knowledge, and nonsense. Check them out at tjhpodcast.com.
And we'll get to more of that game, but as I like to go in chronological order, that was the third game of the weekend. Obviously, the first matchup for us was against Nazareth College, and it was a great game. That's all you can really say. Right? Obviously, it's easier for us to say with the victory, but it was, I think when it comes to the college series every year, I'm always nervous in the first 5 to 10 minutes because it's a huge adjustment for our players, right? So obviously they want to be playing at the college level. This is the whole point of this event. But once you kind of give a hit, take a hit, get your first shot or whatever, then you feel like you belong. And in the beginning, I was like, all right, we're kind of hanging in there. It never became more than a 1-goal game. And I think the funniest part to me, I'm not sure, Anthony, if you've seen Adam Hooley since the weekend, when we got to the shootout stage of things, him and George Roll, the head coach for Nazareth, kind of looked at each other like, do you want to do this? We don't have to do this, but do you want to do this? Because everyone in college, remember, college, it goes in the books as a tie. For those conferences that do have a shootout, that's just for league standings to have that extra point. So when you then backtrack to an exhibition game, it didn't really matter whether or not we did the shootout. Obviously, we're very happy on our end. But have you seen Adam since the games or not yet, Anthony?
No, but actually, no. I did once. He didn't really say much about it, but but just a few minutes after the EHL All-Stars won, I got a text from Adam, and it said the Hooley hat trick. Frozen Finals, Maccabi games where he won a gold medal in Israel, and taking down a Division III college in Nazareth.
Yeah. He told me that one on the ice as well.
That's the best hat trick you can get. Better than any just 3 goals. I mean,
it's been one heck of a calendar year for him. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
yes. And I selfishly wanted to have the shootout, obviously to determine a winner, whether, we had everything to win from that or to gain from that situation, obviously. But at the same time, more importantly, whenever there's a shootout, Trevor goes on the ice and we get some great footage. The save that Trevor Jewell made,
ridiculous,
is potentially one of the top plays in the history of our league. I know that's like a very bold statement, but like,
I would agree with that.
If you have a top five plays,
at the very least, I would say the top play of all the EHL All-Star Classic or College Series that we've had.
Could you see it on hockey TV or not really, Anthony?
I think I had a pretty good view of it. Yeah. Okay. I could see that he reached back with his glove and he got it. Obviously, Trevor's video was a little better, but
Tyler made sure if you couldn't see that he made you hear it. So he definitely conveyed what was necessary.
And Jake, I just want to say you had the best line of the broadcast because Trevor Jewell made the save. Alex Gamzatov then scored what would turn out to be the winning goal in the shootout. And he said, "It's okay, Tyler. You can pick your jaw up off the floor." That was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
And actually, I thought, Neil, going back to what you were saying, too, as far as the best save, I had texted you this very late that night. I thought that was one of our best interviews, maybe, about Trevor Jewell. Well-spoken.
He was fantastic, right?
Yeah, both of you did an awesome job. Your questions are great, but his answers were awesome. That was like a nice 3 or 4 minute interview. Probably one of the more well-spoken players we've had, like you said, ever.
Yeah, for being that amped up. And I briefed him a little bit, but like you never have that much time to think about it when you're on the spot. But he was really well-spoken and he really did a good job capturing about what it exactly meant to those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I think at some point in your "Let's Go" text, Jeff, I forgot to respond. I apologize. My phone was like going like crazy, and then like
that's what I figured. I was like, I'll just send him. He's gonna read him at like 1 a.m. tonight.
Well, yeah, and like I mentioned last week, this guy Jason Steenworth, who helped us out with all the food, he really wanted to make sure that we didn't have like not enough food on Friday night. The amount of pasta and like breadsticks that we got was like beyond excessive. At one point, I think I took like 6 breadsticks and like folded them together, and I was like, somebody has to eat this stuff, so I was gonna go for it. And it was like, all right, I really can't eat anymore because I think my heart may come out of my chest. But that was
training for a marathon now.
No,
carb loading.
A marathon.
Run 26.2
marathon on the couch, Jeff. But I think that was in the middle of us texting. I was like, you know what? There's still like 4 boxes of full breadsticks here. Someone's gonna make at least a small dent.
Hey, go see Emma Lovewell on the Peloton. Your girl.
Yes.
Your other lady.
Yes, of course. But so that was the first matchup. It was pretty cool to have that moment in the locker room afterwards with all the guys. But obviously we turned the page quickly to the Brockport game, and not that Nazareth and their 10 alumni is a small number by any means, but when you compare it to the 21 that are on Brockport's roster, it's less than half, you could say. So going into that Brockport game, I got the same feeling that I got coming off of the Salem State win 3 years ago. that Brockport was going to look at that as we're not going to let them go 2 in a row. And pretty instantly they came out flying. And I guess my one mistake of the weekend, Jeff, you know about this. I didn't bring my Andrew Harley jersey up there. And I like seeing the player that he's become, man, like it is pretty cool. Like
I already told everyone to go watch that video, the at SUNY Brockport hockey video. Andrew Harley, I think, is the first goal. I said Andrew Harley. I was like, oh, Neil.
Yeah.
Well, remember, thought of you.
I have like it's
go Wizards.
I have the Wizards jersey downstairs with a giant hole in it. I still don't know how he got that hole, but I met his whole family up there. I really should have brought the jersey, but it was one of those things. Once you get going on that trip, you can't turn around. So you are not close to where you were going or coming from. Like, but seeing the player that he's become, like he had a shorthanded breakaway like early on, I was like, all right, he's probably gonna score this. And then just the chemistry that he has with Connor Galloway, and just think like Rangers Wizards. It's kind of like they live together now, right? So like it was just so cool to see all those guys. I was talking to Josh Higgins like crazy. Really a lot about the Buffalo Bills because Higgins is such a big Bills fan. God. That's like huge. It's like all he wanted to talk to me about. And I was like, dude, like, let's talk about you. Let's talk about the school. He's like, no, let's talk about the Bills. So I was like, all right, let's talk about the Bills. So
he used to do that to us at the showcases last year too. Hey, what do you guys think of the Bill? Like,
well, I had to
5 minutes before warm-ups.
I had to put the Bills jersey on at the last showcase.
Yes, you did.
That. So we did see the fan favorite though, or she's a favorite of us, I guess you could
Tammy
say.
Aarons?
Yes, she was there with Chris Aaron's dog. He got a dog, a German Shepherd.
Saw that too.
The self-dubbed team mascot, I guess you could say.
Love
it. Didn't win that game, obviously, but I look at it, maybe it's just me, but I always don't count empty netters. Not sure how you guys feel. But
you always preface it, right? You say 3-1 loss, but the third was an empty netter. It was really a 2-1 loss. I do that all the time.
Well,
when I would score them, they counted, but when other
there you go, Jake. There you go.
Yes. Yeah, it's shooting the puck into that empty net, Jake. Like you had to make the extra effort to do so. Yes, so you deserve it. But obviously, we fell behind 6-1 for a second there. I was like, all right, this game's getting a little bit out of hand, but our guys never stopped fighting, and they kept pushed back, made it a 6-3 game. I'm gonna say it was a 6-3 game when I scratched out the empty netter, and then getting all the guys together on the ice afterwards was just cool. And then I was like, all right, we have the team picture where all the Brockport guys are on the left, all the EHL guys are on the right. Now can all the non-EHL alums leave the Brockport side? And like less than a handful got out of the picture. I'm like, all right, this is still a gigantic team photo.
Right?
So
everyone's like, I'm from the EHL. And the guys are like, oh man, I wish I was too.
That's what they were all thinking, right? That's what they were all thinking.
I'm just going to go home now.
Yeah, well, then we got in the car on the way home and I was like, this is going to be a tough one. I think we hit the road around 5 o'clock. And around 5:02, Trevor was already asleep in the back seat. It was pretty instant. And Jake, you were not far behind him. Well, I will say that.
In terms of falling asleep,
yes. Yeah.
I was asleep for a little while, and then I woke up to Chris Russo's voice, and that's the way to wake up.
Hey, Drake, are you still asleep over there?
Yeah.
But Anthony,
look at that. The young guns falling asleep. Wait, Neil, note that, Neil. Old guy stays awake. Young guys.
Well, I mean, I had the wheel.
You're driving. I know, but wheel, still,
man. I had better stay awake.
But still,
But then we
always have to go old, young.
Yeah, we turned on that Lebanon Valley game, and again to emphasize, I guess some nerves on my end. We had never played one division against a college, but you can make the case. I know that the Nazareth game was a win, and that game was technically a loss, Anthony, but that could potentially have been the best of the 3 games all weekend. I mean, you made it sound the best because it was back and forth, and the comeback was awesome.
Oh my goodness. 2 goals in the final 2 minutes and 1 second. I mean, there was so much to like about that game. Also, just a shout out to Dylan Gutierrez, former 87, played with the team for 2 years before going to Lebanon Valley. Chris and I got to talk with him before the game. He's really enjoying it over there. And he played in the second half of that game where Don Parsons sort of divvied up his squad because they have about 30 players on the roster. And he said there are no scratches. Everyone's playing. except for guys who might have been injured. So that's why Ty Franchi was helping out on the camera. But I think 4 EHL alum had points for Lebanon Valley. Gutierrez even had a secondary assist. They had one of the goals. But then the sort of similar to the Nazareth game, I think the All-Stars really picked up steam as the game progressed and went into the third period. So they get the goal to make it 4-3. I think that was the Tommy Madden goal where he just went bar down. And then the 287s, Kyle Fulkerson just lobs the puck right towards the net. And Patrick Demarinis with this insane deflection. He was between the hash marks. That puck was going nowhere close to the goal, but it took a hard right thanks to his deflection. And the goalie just looked back. You can tell he was like, what the heck just happened?
It happens. Go 87s right there. That was a full 87s to Marinus, Fulkerson, Anthony, Chris.
Well, they also there was also this one power play where all 4 87s were, or I think 4 out of the 5 87s were on the ice for the power play, where it was Fulkerson, Demarinis, Ian Lindbergh, and TJ Branish. And I even quipped on air, I'm like, wow, this makes my job so much easier. And I'm just rattling off their names as they pass the puck around. I think Hayden Watson was actually on that power play as well. So
the B&B PP, the Buff and Blue power play.
Oh my God.
Damn, I should have said that.
Missed opportunity. It was funny. I'm blanking out which player Terry said it, but someone in the locker room afterwards said, that was really cool, guys, but now we can go back to hating each other again because we're all rivals.
Still have like 35 games left in our season. Well, Terry has like 5 games left in his year, but
well, and I said that to Terry and Josh. I was like, just so I'm aware, did anybody like show up and like not talk to each other because like they beat the crap at each other in that division. Yeah. So it's like to then be teammates for a day. It's like he's like, no, everyone got along great. I was like, okay.
Right.
Like
for mid-season to shut that down, like it's one thing at the end of the year. If you're out of the playoff seasons, guys are moving on season to season. But to be like, we're still in the very beginning. We're only a month in.
Yeah.
I mean, look, but I mean, let's also be realistic. Yes, these are big rivalries, but these players still have an immense amount of respect for each other.
Yeah,
especially when you're creating these all-star teams.
Yeah,
where it's the best players. Also have to give a shout out to Philadelphia Hockey Club. I was talking about the tying goal. Meanwhile, Philadelphia Hockey Club scored the other 3 goals for the All-Stars. They had a terrific showing.
Yep.
EHC banging the Liberty Bell, baby.
And then one last Chris note before we move on from this. When did you start? You started talking about like a burger bar or something?
Oh, in the locker room. I think he heard one of the Lebanon Valley players say it or something. I actually regret not going down there and checking it out myself.
Was the smell that good?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
Oh. Mixture of like burgers and sweat.
From wherever Chris was, he was emphasizing that the smell was great.
Yeah.
That arena looked awesome though, by the way. I've never seen Lebanon Valley College's arena. That's a classical barn.
I don't know if Neil may have heard this on the broadcast, but I showed my father pictures of the arena before I left my house with Chris. And I think my dad said it best. He's like, this looks like the MSG of Pennsylvania. And when I went there, I looked around and I'm like, honestly, yeah, this is the MSG of Pennsylvania. Just so much history there.
Yeah.
You could tell it's an old arena, but it looked great. It looked fabulous.
That's what I was going to say. It looks old, but it looks phenomenal. Locker rooms were tip-top shape. And how many people does that place hold?
7,800 for hockey.
Awesome. Okay.
Wow.
I would venture to guess, though, that outside of the rink, it's not like MSG. What's around the rink?
It's right next to Hershey Park.
Okay.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Did you
Still probably a little different than Times Square.
Did you get some chocolate, Anthony?
No, we did not.
We were in Chocolate Town, didn't get chocolate.
we stopped at a Turkey Hill concession, or convenience store.
Okay,
nice. There you go.
Makes sense. Well, let's jump into everything else that took place besides the All-Star games from this past weekend, because we did have a very small handful of EHL games to go to first. I give Philly Hockey Club credit. They played all those All-Stars, the 5 that they had in the Lebanon Valley game, and then Nolan Wutsky with Team AHL. And then they played the Apple Corps on Sunday. Like, very quick turnaround. Obviously, got some revenge for a loss that they endured to the Apple Corps back at the mini showcase. Then we've had, I want to say, 5 games since then. We moved the Seacoast Spartans into the number 5 slot in the power rankings. Not we, the computer system that I developed with the points extra.
Well done.
But
well
why?
done.
Well, why? Just
The
like
Nealgorithm.
yeah. So wow, he's so quick.
The Nealgorithm.
He's so quick with this stuff. Like, he's so quick with this stuff. Like,
They used to be called Raven's rankings.
oh my god! But Jeff, like, there were some one-liners like when Steph was checking out the pool for the longest time, and Jake just rattles off how he's now Steph Poolhonic. I nearly pissed myself. I was like, what? Where did that even come from? Anyways, the Nealgorithm is the number 5, no matter what year it is, Jeff, Raven's rankings, Nealgorithm, is the number 5 slot cursed?
Again? Hasn't this been cursed years past too, Deal?
Like, we put Seacoast in, they get swept by Vermont.
Yeah.
We put the Rangers in, they lose to Seacoast.
3 out of Seacoast 4 lost this year to the Vermont Lumberjacks. The other one to the Wolves on opening day.
So I guess you could say they don't lose outside of their division, right? And we mentioned Trent House, I think, every episode of the podcast, right? So
Yeah.
he pointed out, I didn't even notice this week, 4 of the 5 teams in the power rankings from the North Division.
So you're saying the North is pretty good.
But now, after Seacoast loses 2 straight to Vermont, I don't know who Seacoast has the rest of the week this week, but what's up with the 5th slot? Is it cursed?
Are they sad that they're not the Who Are They segment anymore? They're trying to get back to the Who Are They segment. I think they missed it.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to get
you know, it reminds me so much of Seton Hall University's men's basketball team, where they have this great stretch, and anytime they're in the AP top 25, they immediately go out and lose their next game. Hopefully it'll be a little different with Shaheen Holloway as the head coach. I know Big East basketball, or college basketball in general, starting up soon, but I guess to steer it back to the hockey conversation, it's a good point, Neil. I don't know if teams just become overly confident, but on the other hand, the Vermont Lumberjacks are also a very good hockey team. So I think you just have 2 really good opponents. Plus, that game went into overtime.
Yeah, and I said this last week, and I guess I can echo this statement again this week, because the Avalanche, with those 2 wins that Vermont picked up against Seacoast, the Avalanche are now a last place team, right? I can't even comprehend that, right?
No.
They are technically, I mean, Jeff, I used to say this with fantasy, though. They're technically in last place in the North Division, but we'll call it 4th place because, they're 7-3-1.
They're 6th in the league, 6th in the entire league.
But they're in 4th place in their division.
In their own division.
But and maybe the power rankings help show just how tough that division is. But it's like,
yeah,
are we to Anthony's point just now? Are we sleeping on Vermont a little bit? Does it feel like that? No one wants to take that one.
No, I think we might be. I mean, look at 2. I mean, we've been talking about Gillerman a lot for them in net, but it's been Billiquay in the last 2 wins for them. Every game that they play against Seacoast, too, high scoring affairs, 5-1, 5-4, 5-4 again. We saw them at the showcase, and it's just crazy how high scoring it's been. And look at Coach Strider. He switched from Fatadad to Skelton after Fatadad lost yesterday. Went with Skelton because he's been talking to us all about both of them at the showcases. Everyone's been talking about Fatadad as being one of the top goalies in the league, but he has a lot of confidence in Skelton. And of course, starting him against Vermont, that shows you that right there. But yeah, Victor Daigneault too, right behind William Prey now, is our second leading points getter in the EHL. So yeah, they're starting to.
And they were talking about that. They were talking about that at the All-Star week. They were talking about the race between the 2 of them, and kind of like a fun, like, let's go back and forth. Let's see who's got this thing. So
all right,
but
competition breeds success.
Yes, like I said, there's only been 6 games in the EHL since the last recording of the podcast. So maybe this order will change. Obviously, this upcoming week we have more games as the league gets really back fully into the swing of things. But as I mentioned, just to read off the Week 6 power rankings, the Wolves, going into their Seahawks matchup and coming out of it, probably still are number one based off the start that they had. But they did drop a game to the Seahawks. Then 87's at 2, Avalanche, Lumberjacks, and Seacoast round out the top 5. Then to go over to the EHLP, the Rangers have kind of held on to the number one spot just as long as the Wolves have at the EHL, followed by the Avalanche, Lumberjacks, Railers, and Adirondack. When are we going to get to a point with Adirondack where we say, all right, guys, enough's enough. Finish your games in 60 minutes. Like, this is getting crazy. It feels like every weekend, at least one of their games stretches past regulation. And you can't even exaggerate that, right?
Well, both games against the 87s, they had one into overtime, one of them going into a shootout. I don't know. Maybe it's just that underdog mentality. They just feed off adversity and they just don't want anything to come easy for them.
The split is 8-5 in favor of like non-regulation finishes and regulation finishes. So that is so rare. It's crazy. But I mean, hey, their first win came outside regulation, so maybe it's in their veins.
That division, the point total is from top to bottom right now. 17, 16, 16, 16, 9. Like, I understand the Chiefs are obviously struggling a little bit at the bottom of that division, and it looks like early on they're maybe in that playing game for that division. But to be able to potentially jump from 4th to 1st in one game is just, it's crazy to even comprehend that, right? Yeah. But it's been awesome to see what they've done as a new team. And let's talk about the PA Huntsmen too. I mean,
Ryan Arendi's show.
Yeah.
And since the showcase, man, because remember they won their first game, and we've talked about that at length. It was nearly midnight when Anthony and Chris called that game. and then they lost the next two, and then they've been nearly perfect since then.
Yeah. And I think maybe I was a bad luck curse for them because I called those 2 losses. So sorry, PA. I'll delete myself from the rest of your showcase schedule. But Jake, what were you saying?
I was saying they're winning 8 out of their last 10, and they gave up 17 goals in their first game, and they've gotten 3 shutouts since then. So like things have changed.
Wait, did you say 17 gave up 17 goals in their first game?
In their first 3
games.
Oh, first 3 games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute.
Whoa.
I mean, Anthony, if you give up 17 goals in your first game and then win 8 of 10, that would be an insane turnaround.
Those are some Tyler Arago goaltending numbers. 17 in a game.
Oh,
wow.
No. Poor Ty not even here to defend himself. Wait till he listens to this one.
Tyler did volunteer himself to be the emergency goaltender if needed, though, this past weekend. Before him, Kulhanik and Jewell and Boschert all went down. He does not meet the age requirements, but in that situation, he would probably be the only guy in the building that could play goalie, right? So
how's that for a broadcaster's resume? I don't know many e-bugs on that also can put as put broadcaster on their resume.
Fun fact, my brother was an e-bug for the Delaware Thunder in the Fed as their broadcaster.
Mikey Basile.
Mikey Basile has an elite prospects as a goaltender for the Delaware Thunder because he was activated on their roster as an e-bug. Took warm-ups too, right before the broadcast. Literally went from ice to broadcast booth.
Wow.
I stand corrected.
I would say if you had to go from broadcast booth to ice, I mean,
we got to shower. We got to put a suit on.
How much time are you allotted to get down there and be in net? Like that could take.
Probably went full warm-ups, and while the Zamboni was going, he just changed. Yeah.
Okay. Man,
quick shower. I can't wait. I'm gonna meet Mike this week. He's been filling in for our Bentley Falcons, filling in for my buddy Dan Rubin. I'm gonna meet him versus. He's doing on the call versus Lindenwood this weekend.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
I'm fully entrenched in this Basile family. Got Jake EHL, got Mike at Bentley. Let's go, Basiles.
But to if it's okay to steer the conversation back to the Pennsylvania Huntsmen because because
we went off the rails. Thank you, Anthony.
They too faced the 87s, and that game, just like Adirondack, went to overtime.
Yeah.
I was talking to Blaise Kilroy, the head coach of the Huntsmen, and he brought up an interesting point that they do have that affiliation with Team Maryland.
Yep.
And they had 2 guys, Matt Parker and Noah Goose, who were loaned from Maryland down to Pennsylvania, played a couple of games before eventually going back up to Team Maryland. So Parker had a great game. Goose had a good game. But then you had some other guys, Daniel Diukin.
Yep.
And Benjamin Watson, who started the year with Team Maryland, but I think they're going to spend the rest of the season with the Huntsmen. And that is really a shot in the arm for the Huntsmen because those two were dominant. And I think they're going to do really well at the EHLP level. So I think for the Huntsmen, they've already had some talented players coming in like Arendes, Hunter Irera, their goaltender Ty Jones. But now that they have this affiliation, they've gotten a couple of guys who were probably like on the fringe at the EHL level. Now they come in and help out this Huntsman team. Just like Adirondack, they're going to be a very strong team as this season progresses.
No doubt. And I know what Jeff's thinking now. Ben Watson, not the tight end who played for the Patriots for all those years.
Love Ben Watson.
And then just because we should probably talk about this, I think it's also gone by quietly throughout the season. The Rangers EHLP team has still not lost a game in regulation yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not that we've ignored it, but they've just quietly gone about their business, right?
And that's why I picked one of them for us for fantasy this week. Neil.
Yes, so we'll get to that.
We'll get to
it. Yes,
yep. Mm-hmm.
But we always
watching.
We always know, just how strong the Rangers have been at the EHLP level, right? Mm-hmm. To already have 3 championships and 4 championship appearances under their belt in the 8-year history of the EHLP. But man, no regulation loss yet. We're almost in November.
Yeah. This is kind of like the Railers P was last year, right? The Railers P was the ones that went a long time without any regulation losses, weren't giving up a lot of goals, were scoring a good amount. That's the formula that the Rangers are doing right now. They're scoring a lot and not giving up a ton, and they're winning a lot of hockey games because of it.
And you just took Jake's what to watch for a game and brought it up right now.
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon, Railers Rangers in Worcester.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
The last one was a little bit ugly for the Railers. I think they started off the game pretty well, actually, but the wheels came off in the second. Couldn't solve Muchler, if that's the correct pronunciation.
Yep.
But yeah, couldn't solve him and got a little frustrated, undisciplined. But I don't know. Matt Loza gave me a look like the Rangers have no chance this weekend because I said it's going to be a tough matchup, and he just gave me a side eye and said we'll beat him. Like it didn't even matter. So we'll see.
Well, and I think at a certain point now, 10-0-1, the target just grows, right? Because every team wants to be the team to knock them off first in regulation. So I'm sure
give Zach Leibowitz his first regulation loss,
right? But I'm sure the sting of the loss that they had in Tewksbury has the Railers feeling motivated for this weekend's matchup. But we'll get to more of that in the What to Watch For segment. Let's first go to fantasy.
It's time for the eCrew Fantasy Challenge.
The eCrew Fantasy Challenge is presented by BioSteel, the sports drink of the EHL. Use the promo code ESHOW, ESHOW, for 25% off when you check out at biosteel.com.
So Team OG is either getting ourselves so far ahead that we can just limp our way to the finish line, or we have just a William Prey pace going to the year, and we're just not going to let our foot off the gas. It's one or the other, Jeff.
I'll go with the latter, Neil.
Okay, I hope it's that.
Between the two of us, we have 2 EHL fantasy championships under our belts. One for you, one for me.
Trophy coming soon.
Ooh, I like to think we know what we're doing, and a trophy.
I have to clear that one with Maurice in the budget at some point. But yes, at some point it will.
Mo, please. Thank you, Mo.
But we'll get to the 51 points that we put up this past week, which it wasn't a bad week for Team H&IB. 26 points.
This Groundhog's Day. I think I've heard this a few times this year. Wasn't a bad week, but we're
a goal and 2 assists for Zach Needham. 2 goals, 2 assists, a game winner for Jack Murkowski. 2 goals for Jonah Bird. An assist for Eric Toto or Tutu? Toto.
Ooh, it's got to be Toto.
Bring
right?
The
rains down from Africa? Eric Toto? Oh, that better be his entrance song.
We did say this past week, we only picked 1 EHL player, so it was kind of tough to pick with only 6 games. So you guys had Shane Green. who didn't have any points in that Pro Tech game. And then you got cursed by the Rangers goaltending rotation that didn't put Duncan Miller in net this week. So he probably gets the net. Actually, you know what? He probably gets Saturday start when Jake is on the call. So, but overall, like I said, at 26 points, bringing you up to 151.8 total. It's not a bad week. I just have to say, like Team OG, we just have this pace that's just unrelenting right now.
51.2 points. It was a good week after 39.8 last week, and 38.2 the week before, and almost a little under 30 before that. 28.4. I was trying to see what our lowest week is. I think 28.4 is our lowest.
So our lowest week.
Wow. We've only been under 30 points once this year.
Yeah, but knock on wood, we're gonna have our week soon at some point. But
yeah, maybe.
Well,
maybe.
let's hear who Team HNIB has this upcoming week.
Okay, so I guess I'll announce the picks for this week for Team HNIB. Starting off at forward, we're going to go with Louis Joseph Guernon. He's just been so fantastic for the Vermont Lumberjacks. 18 points in 11 games. Like, that's just video game numbers.
Third in the EHL. We didn't give him enough credit earlier. Daniel's number 2, but LJG number 3. Anthony, go ahead.
Yep. Then we're going to go with an EHLP player, Benjamin Watson. Got to see him against the Pennsylvania Huntsmen, or when they faced the 87s. Again, he was one of their best players on the ice. So I think he's a very easy choice to make for the EHLP side. Then we're going to go with Jack Lee. Now, Jake, I think you're pretty familiar with him. He's only played 6 games so far, but he's operating at a point per game pace. 3 goals, 3 assists.
Yep. Yeah, and coming off back-to-back 2-point games as well. And I mean, I know the Railers are pretty motivated right now. They got 3 home games coming up for the E team and 3 for the P. So it's a good time for them, I think, to get some wins under their belt, especially the E team is in pretty big need of it right now.
For defense, we're going to go with Andrei Levtikov. He was pretty good in that EHL All-Star game for the South Division against Lebanon Valley. I mean, everyone from Philadelphia Hockey Club was really good in that game. So we're going to pick him on our blue line. We're also going to go with Pat McKiernan, the defenseman for the EHL Avalanche. He has 5 points in 11 games, 3 goals, 5 assists. So I think he's going to be a good addition as well for Team HNIB. And then I spoke with head coach Ryan McGrath of the Valley Junior Warriors. Samuel Bowes has been a revelation for the Lumberjacks. He said, ever since we started putting him in between the pipes, their goals against has gone down. His numbers are really solid so far in his first couple of games with the Lumberjacks. .927 save percentage, .252 goals against. He said he'll probably get a couple of starts this week. So we're going to get Bose onto Team HNIB.
You did say Lumberjacks, Anthony. Warriors. You got your
Valley Junior Warriors.
Yes.
Oh,
Valley, Vermont. They're right next to each other in alphabetical order, so we're good.
Yeah.
But all right, Team OG. I'll read off what we did this past week, Jeff. Then we'll let you read the picks.
Sounds good.
So Victor Deneau with 2 goals, 2 assists, 1 power play point, 11 points. Not a big deal. AJ Gazzardi, 4 assists, 1 power play point, 9 points.
Not a big deal.
A great mulligan, Jeff. A great mulligan.
Hey, Dad.
Not a shot at Eddie Mulligan, but Charlie Mulligan made up for the name. Got us 2 goals, 3 assists, 2 power play points, and a game winner for 15. Basically said to the defensemen, Xander Badger and Hunter Herrera, you guys have had great years, but we're good. The forwards got this thing covered. Yeah, so they said, okay, that's fine. We'll just stay back here, play defense. And then Ty Jones with 2 wins. Of course, 1 against the 87s that Anthony mentioned. So overall, 51.2 points, giving us 232.4 so far. So again, Jeff, let's not get too cocky, because it's way too early.
Way too early.
Not in November yet, but I'll let you read off our next set of picks.
All right, I'll throw my diaper out. I changed my diaper. I got my walker pushed away. I'm standing up. I just love the old guy's nickname, and we've just gone with that. Thank you, Anthony Apollo, for doing that. It's a little fire under our old bums. Okay, so let's start things off with Hockey Club Rhode Island. We're gonna go with Nate Guinness. 8 points in 13 games for Guinness. An even 4 goals, 4 assists. Commissioner loves symmetry, so come on down, Nate Guinness. 2 of those are power play goals, so we're hoping Nate gets more power play time. Please, Coach Mello and Coach Weber, please and thank you. And then at our other forward spot, we have 3 of them, but another forward spot, I mean, Kate Herrera, 4 goals in his debut as a Seahawk. Be silly not to take him, wouldn't you? Well, HIB passed on him. Not the old guys. We know. Come on down, Kate Herrera, who might just be one of the new men of the Cape. Maybe stealing Peyton Duran's nickname as the man on the Cape from a few years ago. If he keeps putting up 4 goals a game, Coach Zanabody's going to be, and Coach Richard and Coach Ellerton, they're going to be loving him a lot. And our other forward spot is going to be Akesian Mellis. Coach DiCaprio telling me his nickname is Tay at the first showcase. We're going to have to talk to him, Anthony and Jake, about that. Maybe a good question. The Kazakhstan native, not sure where Tay comes from with Akesian Mellis, but he has been dynamite. 19 points in 10 games for the Kazakhstan native. One of those is a game winner. One of those is on the power play. He's only had 1 game where he hasn't had points. That was against the Union Junior Thunder on September 25th. And he's actually getting called up to play for Rich's EHL team this week. So I don't know. He's our P player, but he might be, I don't know how many P games he's actually going to have this week, Neil. So this might, I picked him for us because of the P team has, I think, a 4-game week. I forget how many games EHL has, but
here's what we'll say. So no one thinks that we're cheating. Only his EHLP stats count. Okay.
There we go. Okay. All right. I like it, bud. There we go.
Rich just assured us that he'll play in a P game because I said that. Right. So
hopefully. And then moving to the Blue Liners, Adam Jubran. Thank you, Jake, for figuring that pronunciation out for us. Adam Jubran is quite the offensive defenseman, 11 points in 12 games, 3 goals, 8 assists. So we got 2 guys from the Cape. Let's go, Xander. Let's go, Richard. Let's go, Ellerton. All 3 of you coaches, I'm sure you're going to get all amped up about that. He's got 3 shorthanded points, 2 power play goals, 2 game winners, a little bit of everything. So we're hoping for some bonus points from Mr. Adam Jubran. Caden Connors from the Valley Junior Warriors, 5 assists in 11 games. He's only, I think he has, so those are all single point efforts too. So almost half of the games that Connors plays, he gets points. So we're going to try him out this week, a new name from the Warriors. And then in net, we're hoping that we don't get screwed here, Neil. So Josh Fusco, if you're listening, Colin Berkey, please. I know him and Crosby have been kind of sharing the net for their 11 games this year. Berkey's been lights out. Crosby's been good, but Berkey, 4-1, a 171 goals against, a 952 save percentage. So we're hoping that Berkey plays a little more than Crosby. Again, Coach Fusco, if you're listening, please and thank you. And that's it. That's our roster, Neil.
So just to go over the point totals again, overall point totals. Team OG, as my computer doesn't load right in this exact moment. 230
Zoom. It likes to bog it right down.
232.4. Team HNIB 151.8. I feel good, Jeff. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. One week at a time. With that, let's get to what to watch for.
Before we wrap things up, here's what to watch for this week in the E-Show.
What to Watch For is presented by Hockey TV, the official streaming platform for your EHL and EHLP action through the 2022-2023 season.
I don't think Adirondack is playing this weekend, so I was going to watch an overtime game. I was going to put that on, so maybe they should just skip to overtime.
Could watch a East Coast Wizards game, too. Those all go into overtime. They have 4
Yep, they do have a lot to go to
this
overtime.
Year. Maybe we're going to have Wizzies or Adirondack. We'll just cross P&E and play 12 overtimes.
That would be that'd be interesting,
right?
I walk
in the Adirondack Barn. What is it? Cool Insuring Arena.
Yes,
EHL place. Got to do it there. Sorry, Edge. Love you, but
no, Adirondack is indeed off until
at the CIA.
Oh,
love that.
Wow.
What was the score of the game at the CIA? It's classified.
Oh.
Oh, Anthony, love it.
Nice.
Love it.
Smooth.
So
smooth. So smooth. Jake, did I take your game to watch earlier? Or are you watching that Railers Rangers P game on Saturday?
Yeah, I think I have to watch it like contractually, but I really like the 87's Ducks too, because 87's win tomorrow, they could be competing for the number 1 spot in the division with the Ducks, so that'll be a pretty high stakes game early in the year.
Okay, Anthony, he just stole your game, so what do you want to go?
I mean, The 87's Apple Core because Apple Core has Brock Forrest and Michael Vestbland, two players that have actually done pretty well since joining Apple Core. So I think that'll be fun to watch. Joey LaChase has also been terrific right now for them. But I also think another edition of the Philadelphia rivalry, Philly Hockey Club versus the Little Flyers this Friday. I think that should also be another good matchup.
Yep. How about we go with the East Division as the standings are clogged? Seahawks and Rangers playing a pair at the Breakaway Ice Center. Just saw Cade Herrera score 4 goals in his debut, and they won and picked off the New England Wolves, something that a lot of teams have not been able to say this year in the EHL. So let's see what the Seahawks have. They've needed some goal scoring. Maybe Herrera is one guy going to help maybe lengthen out their lineup. You know, it's been Scott McManus has really been their best goal scorer. I know they've had some issues with injuries too in net with Rolf out with that broken hand, and Chassé and Wright have been kind of switching back and forth. But sometimes it's all you need is one guy to really kind of give your team a boost. The Rangers have been playing a lot better as of late too, so I think that might be a fun weekend series to watch in the East.
You know how Elite Prospects shows you the pace that guys are on?
Yeah.
No, I have no clue.
I was looking at that for Herrera today too.
149 goals, I think it was.
100. They have 34 games left. If he keeps his pace, he'll have 140 goals with 0 assists.
And Connor McDavid will come on.
Pure goal scorer. Do not dish it. Pure goal scorer.
If he keeps that
pace,
don't scare.
Just get the rebounds.
Connor McDavid will be at Tony Canarita by the end of the year watching this kid say, what is he doing? What do I need to do to score 149 goals in the NHL? Let me go watch Cade Herrera down at Tony Ken.
You know what I have to actually look up now that we say all of that is I think it's going to come down to really Herrera versus Guérin this week for forward of the week. Because while Herrera had the 4-goal game, right, which I'm pulling up right now, Guérin coming off a great series with the Lumberjacks against the Spartans, 5 points.
Didn't he have 2 goals today?
Yeah, he had 3 goals in the first game, 2 goals in the second game. He's had a point. Go to your streaks page, Jeff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, right?
Love that streaks page.
So yes, maybe we have talked a lot about Prey and where he's at, right? At the top of the league leaders, but there's guys chasing him. And maybe
saying, don't forget about me.
Well, Herrera is saying, like, if I can just keep this pace going, I'll be there before you know it.
Yeah, right. We'll be jumping in the top 10. A couple more 4-goal games or 4-point games. Maybe he works in some helpers there too. Who knows?
So now it's my turn to pick a game. And a lot of the games that I wanted to pick have been stolen.
No pressure, Associate Commissioner. You're a league guy though, so you know. Well, we all are, but
it's just what's killing me is the games that got stolen from me, Jeff. I was gonna say all the games that got said. But
yeah,
I'm gonna
Raylor's Avs game is pretty interesting too.
Yep. I'm excited. Gotta give a shout out to Steph Kulonic, who offered to
Kulonic.
Yeah, clean all the jerseys.
Stefan Kulhashik.
He offered to clean them all, so he's doing a little exchange for me, handing things off to Chris Sorella, who will then hand them off to me, all clean. So I'm excited about the return of my All-Star jerseys.
There we go. Didn't Matt Carlson do that for his last year at the Den? I think he did.
Aiden Hotchkiss.
Aiden Hotchkiss.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the bar has been set,
boys.
but yes, there was actually a game. I'm gonna actually highlight another Railers game, and that's coming up on Monday against the Lumberjacks. So talking about revenge, last time the Railers went up to Vermont, they won both of those matchups, EHL and EHLP. So maybe some revenge coming back down from Vermont to face Worcester on Halloween.
Are you TV to find out?
Are you gonna wear a costume for that one, Jake?
No, but I have a spooky tie.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
You do have a really good suit.
But the Peace Squad are wearing costumes, so that's gonna be pretty sick.
Anyone gonna do a 4-board the other day and do the Princess Peach look? Heard he stopped for gas and got a couple of looks. Maybe
Tristan Boyer very hush on what they're gonna be.
He did what?
He was Princess Peach. Go on their Twitter and see Derek 4-board. It was like, Tristan Boyer is close to 4-board size, big defenseman. Go check out the little pink shirt and little sleeves that Derek Forbort was wearing. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
And Patrice Bergeron was like the best Mario I've ever seen.
Okay.
Looked exactly like Mario.
Okay.
And
I'll have
there's
to
your
check that
Halloween
out.
wrap.
But on Halloween, those are the only 2 games. Lumberjacks versus Railers, both levels. Actually at the same time, technically, or 15 minutes apart. So are you calling the EHL game again?
I actually, the last time we had this, we had Wolves at the same time for both teams, and I did the E, so I'm switching this time. I'm doing the P, and my brother's doing the E.
What if the results are the same though, and then you're on the losing effort both times?
Well, then either way, I'm being fair. So
okay, and that's what we go for here, being fair.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think
I've only called 1 win so far this year. So
wow.
Oh, Railers, come on! What's wrong, huh?
Also, how many? For 3 weeks, so that won't help.
Is this gonna be your brother's first game calling for them, or is
he did the Wolves P game where they came back from 3-0 because of course I don't get that one. You know,
so you both have seen. So they've won one for you and one for him.
Yeah, exactly, and he's called 1.
Wow,
he's bad 1,000.
Family controversy. Here we go.
Oh man. Well, that does it for this week's episode. As I mentioned, a bunch of games on the schedule this upcoming week, and obviously we've had a few EHL games since the All-Star weekend came to a close, but this is really kind of jumping back in fully this upcoming week. And we're only a couple weeks away from the November showcase. I sent out an email this morning to start planning things out for the All-Star Classic.
Saw that, read that, was like, oh wow, okay.
Like I thought about it, Jeff, and I'm like, you know what? We kind of have to start figuring out those players soon. Who's going to be in that, right? So
we drafting again? No, we don't want to tell the E-Show family at home, but
I don't know. It's tough because
off air, we'll talk.
There's 4 teams. Do we each draft 2 teams? We could do that. I know Jeff wants to be the leader of the blue team again. That was
blue. I'm automatically getting blue jerseys. I'm the champion. I get blue jerseys again. Sorry, Blue Boys. # Blue Boys comes back.
Yeah, I had to figure that part out. Maybe I don't know. I gotta think about that. But
yeah, let's figure it out off the air.
It's right around the corner. I mean, I was laughing with Jack Bosher last week at the All-Star week. They're playing on Thanksgiving again this year. That's a month away.
So that means Nash has got the pressure of picking the bowl again. Are we doing that?
Yes.
Year 3, year 4.
Yeah, he is 0 for 2 so far. So
that's year 3. That's
right. Let's see what he picks this year.
Come on, Nash, no pressure, bud.
So
the hat trick you do not want, Nash pup.
Yes, but he would fit in with the rest of us right here on this call, on this Zoom. So, but yeah, every game as always on Hockey TV, and we'll see who gets to be cursed next by the number 5 slot in the EHL Power Rankings next week.
Ooh, spooky.
We'll talk to you guys then.
See you then.
Thanks for listening to The E-Show. Learn more at easternhockeyleague.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, be sure to subscribe and get notified when next week's podcast is released.